Paris Air Show has witnessed the kickstart of a potential mega Make in India project. The world's largest armament company, Lockheed Martin, has inked a deal with Tata Advanced Systems to produce the F-16 fighter jets in India. Now, this mega development comes just days ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States, which is scheduled to meet Lockheed Martin CEO Marillyn Hewson. It also comes just a month after India finalized the new strategic partnership policy in defense production. The unprecedented multi-billion-dollar joint venture provides India the chance to produce, operate and export F-16 Block 70 aircrafts. Tata already has a deal with Lockheed Martin on the C-130 and the Sikorsky Lines. Besides providing full service support to F-16s, the deal will also enable Tata to offer all future upgrades for the aircraft on its own. Remember, the F-16s are being used by over 25 countries and remains the world's most successful combat-proven multi-role fighter jets.
This is a step putting high the morale of the Indian Army.
It is indicative of the fact that the world's biggest aircraft manufacturer and the world's biggest democracy are joining hands as far as defense needs are concerned.
One thing I want to tell you that in times of war, what happens that the foreign power twists your arms, escalates the price of the spares, and then tries to influence your foreign policy and your war planning. All these things will get mitigated and removed once they have a financial interest and economic interest, because their factories will be inside India.
Now, to understand how historic this deal really is, let's go across to perhaps one of the best people in the country to explain this, Air Marshal Kapil Kak. Thank you so much for joining us on the studios here. First and foremost here, why is this such a big deal? Could you break it down for our viewers?
Well, it's a big deal, quote unquote, in the sense that actually it's not a deal as yet. It's a memorandum of intent, a memorandum of understanding. But yes, this has a potential in terms of if the other pieces in the jigsaw puzzle are in place, then this could be a mega deal, because that it gives us, as you rightly said, gives us a capability to manufacture, operate and export a state-of-the-art system like the F-16 Block 70, which is the most advanced variant of the F-16, which is about 4,500 produced, nearly 3,200 world over, as you said, 26 countries, interestingly including Pakistan. But the devil, as they say, is in the detail. In the strategic partnership arrangement by way of a policy which has just recently been announced by the government selects the private partner on the Indian side on the basis of 4 or 5 points in the step process. We call them gateways. Unless you meet those requirements, you can't cross the gateway. And unless you cross the gateway, you are not a potential partner for an outside equipment manufacturer, like in this case the Lockheed Martin. What are these? That means you have to have a company which has turnover, which has a very excellent technical infrastructural capability, and it is making profits and all those considerations. On the OEM side, it's a question of range, depth and scope of what is the transfer of technology that will be done. That is yet to be reached, because that is a matter of negotiations with Lockheed Martin and the US government. How much will they transfer? But as I said, the primary decision is yet not been made. Neither has Tata Systems been selected as a strategic partner for manufacture of fighter aircraft, nor has Lockheed Martin been selected as the original equipment manufacturer. So I think it may be too early to pop the bubbly.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So let's not get carried away. I think that's what you're saying, Air Marshal. Now, realistically, what kind of a time frame can we expect to be able to produce F-16 and use these F-16, given by the fact that when it comes to arms procurement and usability, the deadlines unfortunately get being broken again after again, and the track record is not exactly the best in India. We are still a long way away from actually operationalizing the Tejas LC aircrafts here. So what kind of a realistic time frame are we looking at?
Mr. Bhattacharya, you couldn't be more spot on, because this is a key vulnerability of Indian decision making. Because do not forget, we took 10 years for the MMRCA,
Yes.
which eventuated into the 36 flyaway Rafales, which were announced by Prime Minister Modi in Paris in April 2015. We are now looking at, firstly, whether Tatas will be selected as a partner. That could take a year, at least a year, 8 months to a year, if you do fast track. Then the second question is RFP and other issuance of the OEM, the scope, depth and range of the technology Lockheed Martin will transfer. That is also, both processes are concurrent.
Okay.
They are concurrent, there is no worry there. But as I said, it requires a whole range of negotiations between the Indian partner and the OEM, then between the OEM and the Government of India, and the Indian partner and the Government of India. This triangle has to be very hyperactive. I would think the manufacturer could be about 6 to 7 years at least. You know, it doesn't happen, everything doesn't get produced. We also haven't decided whether it will be 100 or 200. At the moment, we are short of about 100 if you go by the original 126 aircraft. But I think the more important issue which the viewers need to keep in mind is what the Air Chief has been saying and what Air Headquarters top leaders have been saying, that you are looking now, post the cancellation of the MMRCA 126 aircraft, perhaps a desirable low life cycle cost maintenance of a single engine. The focus is now on single engine, and in the single engine category, viewers must know, apart from the F-16 Block 70, there is a latter technology variant which is provided by the Swedish company Saab, which is called the Gripen, Gripen E. Like this is a Block 70, which is a major improvement from what Pakistan has. Likewise, Gripen E is the absolutely latest. Now you have these two aircraft in a dogfight. Who will win that dogfight? Neither Mr. Bhattacharya nor Kapil Kak can say now. But it will take a year before, maybe more than a year, for the selection to be made of one of the two platforms. And I said, I've given the steps for the viewers to understand.
My next question was going to be the efficacy of the F-16, because as far as I know, it's been perhaps one of the world's most successful fighter aircraft, but it's also been a bit long in the tooth. Now, my concern is, again as a layman, correct me, you're the expert.
No, you're not a layman. What your points you're making are those of an expert.
All right, thank you so much.
I really want to appreciate
a simple question here. By the time we essentially operationalize the deal, are we essentially looking at a very outdated successor to the MiG-21, which is anyway overstayed its welcome by decades now?
Actually, the answer to your question is yes and no.
Okay.
Because one point which is, I think you're hinting at it without saying it, that the last F-16 was purchased by the US government itself 18 years ago.
Yes.
So as far as US government is concerned, this is of no consequence.
Absolutely.
But it does meet developing countries' Air Force needs if it enables us to transfer technology, which we need desperately for Make in India, because this is not a Make in India program. We can call it a Make in India. It's a very good jumla, as the people say.
Okay.
But this is buy. You're buying aircraft, then you're making it.
Yes.
Then the press has made it, media has made it out to be, we will, when Modi meets Trump, he will tell him, no, your jobs are very much secured. Yes, jobs are the supplier end.
Okay.
The production and jobs will come here. So job sharing will take place. But the key point is the only Make in India program which we have, unfortunately it's run into huge problem, is the light combat aircraft, Tejas. Now, if you have a combination of the low-end, medium-end and high-end technology, which is what we are looking at now, and 2032 when the Air Force will be 100 years old, and the heavy, the medium and the lightweight. So all weights will actually, weight and technology mix will take place for the air power to be employed for force in various terrains, various geographies and various challenge mixes of operational threats that we face.
Well, thank you so much, Air Marshal, for breaking it down so lucidly for our viewers here and for enabling us understand perhaps the positives as well as the pitfalls of this agreement here.